See, and that's what I'm talking about. It's just drinking.
I was not able to turn myself in. I apologize for that.
Did you call your attorney and say you couldn't make it?
But again, I don't know why it's coming up with that. And I didn't have access any of those days to alcohol or have them in my possession at a no drinking facility. So honestly, I'm telling you, I don't have access to
I'm going to tell you, I'm not believing what she's telling. I just don't think she's going to do what anybody asked her to do.
I can assure you I'll be here on the 1st.
You're just not following through. You don't do what you don't want to do. Well, it doesn't work that way. But at this time, defendant's bond is revoked.
When this entitled Brett walked into Judge Simpson's courtroom, she was already setting herself up for disaster. She was already out on bond for substance issues. But instead of following the conditions, she allegedly tampered with her tether and got caught drinking. And naturally, she's denying everything, like she's the only person in the room who doesn't see what's happening. The problem is, lying in Judge Simpson's courtroom is basically asking for a one-way ticket back to jail. He does not play with dishonesty, especially when bond is supposed to be about trust. The whole thing is an absolute mess, and watching her try to wiggle her way out is just painful to watch. So let me know in the comments, do you guys think Judge Simpson went too harsh here? Or is he just doing exactly what needs to be done? Let's dive in and watch.
We are here for PCC and bond violation. I understand the court has received and reviewed the materials that were sent over yesterday.
I did.
Thank you, Your Honor. The only request that we would have when we're discussing those materials, she is staying in a shelter in Livingston County. There is a separate DV having nothing to do with any of this, and there are some cross allegations in that case. So she's just requesting that we not say the name of the shelter if someone is listening on Zoom to where she's staying.
Understood.
Thank you, Your Honor. I believe that the materials that we provided were pretty thorough in terms of where Ms. Brown has been coming from and what her circumstances are in pertaining to the bond violation. So I was wondering if the court had any questions.
Well, I do, because, I'm not sure how you provided the materials, but I'm not sure how that relates to the specific allegations of the bond violation. Because what I have, certainly, maybe one might be able to look at the consumption of alcohol, but there was a tampering that occurred for a 12-hour period.
So I am going to let Ms. Brown address that herself with the court. You can explain to him where you're at in terms of the allegation. But I had forwarded her the reports the same day. And just so that Your Honor knows, she did intend to turn herself into the jail this morning, but she was unable to get a ride this morning. And so she's here for in-person court this afternoon. So regarding the tamper on 6/23 and then the positive on 6/25, the court is looking for either an explanation or an admission as to these two.
Your Honor, I don't have any clue why those were coming up that way. I know that I was called in to community corrections to have my unit replaced for servicing. And when on my way there, Ms. Julian called me and said that she received a notification from courts that I had a tampering and violation that she would, wanted clarification about. And I had no idea what she was talking about. I told her that I was just called in to do a replacement on the unit itself. I have only been at La Casa AA meetings and with AA people because I don't currently have transportation and a license to get myself to and from these places. And I have not had access or been in the environments of drinking whatsoever. The only events outside of AA are AA events that I've been to, such as there was a sober rave in Royal Oak that I've gone to, but that wasn't even in the dates in question. So I'll stop with that. But I was completely confused. So I had the unit replaced. And while at community corrections, they had told me that I had this tampering and violation, 2 counts. And I was in for my reading the week before during this time. And they said that I was all set, good to go. We'll see you next week. And so I was really unsure why I was getting that unless it was due to needing servicing. But I have not saying, Your Honor, this is way too important.
Well, hold on a second. Just so that we're clear before you go on with your story.
Okay.
On June 23rd at the 12:56 a.m. time,
Yes, sir.
That's when the tamper is detected
Okay.
with the unit. On the 25th, there isn't a tamper. It's just drinking.
Again, I don't know why it's coming up with that unless the servicing part of it needed it. Because at the shelter where I'm currently residing, there's a locked door policy from 11:30 p.m. until 7 in the morning. And I didn't have access any of those days to alcohol or have them in my possession at a no drinking facility. And I was at the facility at both of those times.
I'm really not buying this girl's story right now. I mean, she's acting like it's literally impossible to smuggle alcohol into a shelter when we all know that's not true. This isn't a maximum security prison. It's a shelter with rules that people bend every single day, just the way she talks. You'd think she was in some kind of fortress where contraband magically couldn't exist. Come on! People have been sneaking alcohol into stricter places for decades. And here's the real kicker. Her entire defense hinges on it couldn't have happened, which isn't much of a defense at all. At this point, she's not building any credibility. She's just tearing it down with every excuse. The sad part is that Judge Simpson is still giving her room to explain herself. And she's just wasting it all with half-truths and denial. The scales are clearly tilted against her, and bad excuses are only pushing them further down. So let me know in the comments. Do you think she's lying? Or is she really just that unlucky?
Documented on camera, I believe they have at the shelter, as well as my sign in and out sheet, and documentation from the shelter staff themselves saying that I was there and there was no evidence of me using. The doors lock at 11:30. I'm a smoker. I come in and I pretty much turn out the lights and go to bed by midnight every night. So honestly, I'm telling you, I do not know unless it has something to do with the servicing aspect of it. I don't have access to there, and it's a couple miles
Does
away.
she want a hearing on this? Because I'm going to tell you, I'm not believing what she's telling me.
Okay.
Then we would request a hearing and we would ask Community Corrections to bring a log of their, not just the violation reports, but if she's been indicating, and she did to me that day, that they called her to Community Corrections to switch out her unit. If there was a problem, and this would have been the unit that was switched out. After this, this would have been the problem unit, is what I'm saying, is that if there was a problem with the unit. So perhaps we'd hearing where Community Corrections can bring their documentation of what they did and when, and the servicing of their units.
How much time would the people need?
I'm emailing Community Corrections right now. And time that works for the courts, I can bring one of them over. Anytime that works for the courts, I can bring one of them over for a bond violation hearing, whatever the court.
All right. I'll set it for August. I'll set the bond violation hearing as to bond in this case. Now, what I'm worried about is I issued a bench warrant without bond.
I understand, Your Honor. I informed Ms. Brown of that the same day that the court issued the warrant. I did instruct her to turn herself into the jail. I do believe that part toward the end of her letter that was directed to the court expresses that she was emotionally really grappling with coming into custody based on all of her circumstances that were outlined. I have continued to encourage her to turn herself into the jail. She was going to do so this morning, but she does not drive.
And Ms. Julian, and I'll just tell you, that's part of my problem. Part of my problem is I know how you operate, Ms. Julian. You told your client, tell them what the right thing to do is, and they don't do it. And then today, or yesterday when we received the information and we understood she was going to turn herself in that morning, and so we were then trying to make sure that she was going to be on the docket at the proper time so we'd see her, so she wasn't just sitting there, and she doesn't turn herself in. And my staff, we're going all around trying to figure out where she is. And then I get an excuse she doesn't have a ride here. I just don't think she's going to do what anybody asked her to do. She's just going to make her own call on all this stuff. And I appreciate the circumstance that she's in and have great sympathy regarding that, but I can't let you just go around violating what the court says you need to do.
From Judge Simpson's point of view, this one's very simple. She's staying in custody until the hearing is over. Why? Because she already showed she doesn't take her bond seriously in the first place. First off, she violated her conditions by drinking, and then she got caught ducking a warrant like she thought she could just skip it and stay free. That is exactly the type of behavior that makes judges slam the door on bond the second time around. Bond is basically a contract. It's, I trust you not to mess up, and you promise not to mess up. The moment you break it, and especially when you don't show up when the judge issues a warrant, the game is pretty much done. Judges see this pattern over and over, and that's why they get stricter with repeat offenders. It's really not personal at all. Even if she hadn't said anything, I think he still would have kept her in custody. At the end of the day, some people just have to learn the hard way. That's just human nature. Let me know what you guys think. Should she still get another bond? Or did she just dig her own grave here?
Your Honor, I do have in the next week before the first medical alcohol treatment with another drug testing per bond order. And I also have general therapy with my counselor, my therapist, all of those appointments, as well as some medical appointments that are all before the 1st of August. I have not left the state, and I was here this morning. I was not able to get here to turn myself in, but I was here for this hearing, and I can assure you I'll be here on the 1st. I really need to make these appointments.
You shouldn't have had to go through whatever. And like I said, it's not like you didn't get the information from your attorney. You didn't get that. I'm reading everything she's sending me. She's doing a yeoman's job trying to represent you and do that. You're just not following through.
I do not have a license, and I'm really sorry that I was not able to turn myself in. I apologize for that. Thank you.
Did you call your attorney and say you couldn't make it?
No, I wasn't sure yet, but
See, and that's what I'm talking about. I mean, Miss Julian makes a representation to us that this is what you're going to do. This is everything. And then the person that's defending you and trying to make sure that the court understands everything about you, you're not even communicating with them to say this isn't going to happen. And then you're not following her instructions.
she said she'd meet me at 1:45, and I texted her at 1 o'clock and said I'd be here at 1:30 and that I would meet her at 1:45. I didn't ask her for a ride, though. You're right.
She did text me. It was after the morning, I want to say noon, that you were not able to turn yourself in this morning and that you would be here at 1:30. So I said that to meet me here since you were going to be meeting me here. So.
How'd you get here this time?
I had a friend of mine picked me up.
I think that what you want to do is you don't do what you don't want to do. And so you don't put the effort forth. And then everybody is sort of just misled as to what you're going to do. Well, it doesn't work that way. Because it puts a whole lot of people out. Because, like I said, we're going on Miss Julian's representation of what she instructed you to do and what you said you were going to do. And you didn't do it. And then everybody's looking around. We don't even know where you are or that you're going to show up at this time. You don't get to make those choices. So at this time, Miss Julian, you can file a motion regarding her additional appointments and other things that she may have to do. But at this time, defendant's bond is revoked, defendant's remand.
Your Honor, thank you. In the meantime, for the record, we are trying to see if we can resolve this case at district court level. So
Okay.
those conversations will continue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Messing up bond conditions is bad enough, but refusing to come in on a warrant, that's pretty much the nail in the coffin. Bond is already a thin line to walk. And when you pile on violation after violation, nobody feels bad when it snaps. Once you show the court you can't be trusted, it's nearly impossible to earn that trust back. Judge Simpson gave her chance after chance, but she had nothing to work with because she kept doubling down on bad choices. A real issue here is that the bond system is built on honesty and compliance. When people treat it like a joke and come into court with all these BS excuses, it just hurts the integrity of the process for everybody. Honestly, in Judge Simpson's courtroom, what stands out the most to me is his incredible patience. He really is fair. He'll give you that one extra chance if you genuinely need it. But when you show disrespect like this lady did, there's really no way around it. You gotta serve some time. I think he handled it exactly right. Like I said, some people just need to learn the hard way. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.